I get asked this question a lot. What company would I start today? What type of company? What specific company? Where do I see the biggest opportunity? What would I do if I did not have a business and I was ready to embrace entrepreneurship and start making money on my own accord? What's the business type that I would do? I do a lot of calls with aspiring entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, where they're like, hey, Nate, where is the next opportunity? Where is the next thing that I can start making money in? Because if you have all your eggs in one basket, the issue is, God forbid, one thing happens to your business, or you find another opportunity where there's something else going on. What is the next best thing? What is going on right now? Sorry for this. Just getting it all set up here. Off the cuff. Okay, no captions here, off the cuff. So, biggest opportunities I see right now in businesses that if I were to start over, the first thing I would look at, I look at about 5 or 6 different factors for different businesses I want to start. Number one is lifestyle fit. For me, in my situation, a business has to fit the lifestyle that I have now. I don't want to physically go to an office. I want to run all my businesses virtually or hybrid schedule. I don't want to be tied to a specific location. I want to be able to move and go run my business from there. I don't want to be fixed to a local area. Okay, so let's provide an example of that, right? Lawn care landscaping, obviously you're stuck in a local area. Brick and mortar, hardware store, anything unless it's extremely passive, which is really hard to do. I like to manage things in the details because that's how you run a successful business. If you're in the details, and if you have a business that has brick and mortar that's retail, really hard to do that, really hard to hire a manager in retail and keep a manager and keep a good manager from stealing from you. So it's got to fit my lifestyle. If it doesn't fit what I want, then I'm out. Okay, some of y'all, you don't care. You're just trying to make money. So that's not a big deal for you. The second thing for me is the business sellable? I talk about this a lot because it's very, very important. You should not start a business that you can't sell for a multiple of your profit someday. So if you grow that business, and let's say you grow it to $4 million in revenue and you profit $1 million, can you sell that business for 5 to 10 times the multiple, which would sell for about 5 to 10 million? If you can't sell the business for a multiple of your EBITDA that is not above 5, you shouldn't start and scale that business. You're wasting your time. Now, if you find yourself stuck into a business, or there's a business that you want to start where you can make a lot of money, that there is not a multiple on your EBITDA, that is fine. Take the money you make from that business and don't blow it, and go start some other business that requires a lot of capital that you can sell, okay? These rules aren't hard and fast. I would make exceptions to them, right? If you can go be a roofing company, right? Roofing companies don't really sell for a multiple. It has to be really big, maybe a franchise, something like that. But they don't really sell for a multiple. But you can go catch 50, 60 grand a month at a roofing company, subbing it out. You can go do that. So take that money instead of blowing it and go start you a business that requires some capital that gives you some EBITDA, okay? Because if not, you're going to be stuck with a business that's a high-paying job, okay? So does it fit my lifestyle? Is it sellable? Number 3, is it scalable? This means, can I scale this business past the local level? Can I scale it to bring in significant revenue? Where is the ceiling? What is the ceiling? I don't want to start a franchise and be a franchisee when my franchise can only do, let's say I start a sandwich shop. I'm not going to name any names, but let's say I start a sandwich shop. That sandwich shop can do $500,000 to $600,000 in revenue at that location. That's the ceiling. I don't want to start that because then I have to go put more money down to scale to another franchise when the franchisor is making all the money. Let's be honest, okay? The scalability of the business is fixed. I like the scalability of my business to be like my insurance agency I own. I own Wexford Insurance. We do business insurance in 40 states. If you ever want an insurance quote, hit us up. Wexford, WEXFORDINS.com. We're in like 40 states now. We can scale to the sky. It does not matter. Everybody buys insurance. It's scalable. We sit in Indiana, but we sell insurance all across the nation. It is massively scalable, it's sellable, and it fits my lifestyle, okay? So that's why the first three, okay? Number four, another thing that I want to figure out in the business is, can I eventually be absentee down the road, okay? And what that means is I want to be able to scale the business to a point where I can put in key individuals to run that business while I still look after it, while I go and work on other businesses to scale. So I want to have some sort of absentee aspect to it where you're growing a business where the business eventually works for you and you don't work for the business. Because if you're stuck working in your business all the time, you're only working on that one flow. The average billionaire has like 7 to 10 flows of income. So if that's the goal, and if it isn't the goal, it should be your goal. Your goal should be so big that you're like scratching your head. How can I hit this? How can I hit these levels? How can I get to this level? Well, I have to drastically increase my income. How can I do that? Well, you need multiple flows coming in. So if one flow dries up, you still have your other ones. So having an absentee owned business where you're still managing the business, but you're also working on other passion projects and things that bring in other income, that is huge for me. So what businesses fit that right now? Okay. I think the virtual assistant agency model, which is you find clients who are struggling to find great employees. My company, we have 3 virtual assistants. I also own another company called Contractor Back Office where we supply virtual assistants to contractors. I mean, it's a massive industry where contractors and different businesses are trying to find great employees. And let's face it, they can't find great employees because American workers are sometimes horrible and they're very expensive, very expensive. So for 1/8 the cost, you can find a virtual employee that's just as great. So if you're looking for that, look up contractorbackoffice.com. We can help you out. So what I'm trying to say here is the virtual assistant agency is a great business model. Any type of service that you're providing for a business, okay? So I love service businesses, virtual assistant, insurance agencies, mergers and acquisitions. I help companies with mergers and acquisitions. I have another company that does that. So when somebody's looking to sell their business or they're looking to buy a business, we work with companies to help them out with that. So I love providing services. I love interacting with businesses, okay? So what does a business need that would be a great business idea? Bookkeeping and accounting, huge. You can make a ton of money just doing someone's books. Very easy. You can go take a course, learn how to bookkeep, and then start calling companies, and it's insane, and do some marketing. Bookkeeping and accounting. Number 2, benefits, 401ks. As companies grow, we do a lot of group health insurance. That's something that we want to grow at our company. And doing group health insurance, you can make a lot of money. I wish we did more of it. Group health insurance, 401ks, benefits, documentation, checklists, safety. You can start a safety company. So you just think in these different niches, right? You look at construction or safety consultants, insurance, group health, bookkeeping, DOT compliance, setting up somebody's company. There's so many things that just interact in the service industry. The reason I like the service industry is because all those businesses that I just mentioned, you can run from wherever. You can help companies out on their bookkeeping in California if you live in New York. I love service-based businesses. They usually don't require you to have an office, and they usually don't require you to have a ton of overhead to where you can scale to a great point and start making really good money before you even bring in any help. So I would really look at service-based businesses. They don't require that much capital at all to start. It requires a computer and a marketing mind and a will to never give up. So I'm huge on the service businesses because I would not recommend somebody to start a business and that business get to a point where it could potentially bankrupt them if it doesn't work out. I don't like high intensity capital businesses. That's why I don't like the dump truck business idea, even though my video on dump trucks has like 60,000 views. I don't like business ideas that require a lot of capital that you get your money back over 3 or 4 years. That's like in a service business. I started my business with less than like $2,000. I think it was like $2,000 that we spent to start our business. and we make millions of dollars a year. So if you were to really look at it, the ROI on a service-based business is massive. And then the downside, the risk is minimal, because it just costs you time, right? Which times is worth a lot. But if you go below 100 grand on a machine or something, or a restaurant, and it doesn't work out, you're at 100 grand. And then you got to spend all that time to make up that money. So I really like service-based businesses. Any business where I can interact with an industry. Let's take an example, the Airbnb industry, right? Airbnbs, you can start a cleaning company, or a property management company, where you're managing properties that are on Airbnbs, or managing properties that are being rented out. You don't necessarily have to physically be there. You are organizing lawn care, organizing cleaners, organizing any sort of maintenance. And you don't necessarily have to own the property, but you're making a percentage off the property. So this is an example of a business idea that is a service, okay? You're providing a service. You know, I love law firms. Law firms do that too. They provide a service for businesses. There's so many different industries out there where if you start thinking about businesses that interact with that industry, and there's a ton of middlemen. You think of insurance, right? I own an insurance agency. There's some insurance companies we can't get to. They only sell through insurance wholesalers / brokers. So there's brokers and wholesalers whose clients are insurance agents. It's crazy. There's so many service-based businesses out there that there's different layers of the onion. And I always tell people, stop looking so surface level, because that's where everybody else goes, right? Maybe stop looking at, looking at, how could I start a property management business? What do property managers, who do they work with specifically in that industry? What are they looking for? Oh, a software to make their life easier. There's a business that interacts with a service business, and it's 2 layers in. So a lot of people, you're not gonna have as much competition. The more layers you go into business ideas, the more you find different things that are within a niche, the more success that you're likely gonna have, because there's less competition. You go start a lawn care business, you're competing against any guy who can go spend $2,000 to buy a lawnmower and push some grass around. That's who you're competing against. But what if you were manufacturing lawnmowers? What if you were selling lawnmowers, or selling specific tools in lawn care equipment, or software for lawn care business owners who can manage their jobs better, collect payments, something to help those people out? Because there's almost more money to be made interacting with a top layer business there's more money to be further in the onion, because lawn care, super hard to scale, because you got to find people, you got to pay them less. It's horrible. But as you go further down the layer, okay, let's think about a lawnmower, right? A lawn mowing company. It's $1 billion company, and all they do is sell lawnmowers to all these people who want to mow lawns and make pennies. Who's really winning? And the person who has the lawn care equipment company can sell their company for a multiple. Because it's worth something, because people are buying it. People are very territorial towards their machines and the manufacturers, right? So that's smart. Smart is starting a business further into the layer and not on the surface layer. So always be looking. And the best way to do that is get into a niche, get into some niche, and think about businesses that interact with that niche and start that business idea. But make sure it fits those different things that I mentioned today, because you don't want to start a business that you're tied to that doesn't fit your lifestyle. You don't want to start a business that can't be scaled, that can't be sold. Start the right business. So as always, if you want any thoughts and opinions, you want to have a call with me, here are the services I provide. I have a book that you can buy for $5. It's the link below. It's how to find a business idea. Kind of like what I talked about today, but it's super intense. It goes into specifically how you can find your business idea. If you're looking for something a little bit more detailed, I have a course for $20, how to find your business idea. It's way more in depth than my book. By the end of the course, you will have a business idea. And if you don't, you didn't put forth the effort. The last thing I have a call, and I charge $100 for 30 minutes, $200 for an hour. And that's specifically tailored, custom to you, where I'm going to talk specifically only about your business idea, or your hope to have a business idea, to get you to a business idea. Having a custom call obviously is probably going to be your best solution. But if that's not within your budget, I have a $5 product and I have a $20 product of my course. So always, if If you don't have any money, you can hit subscribe and watch all my videos for free where I give away free nuggets of information. And as always, I hope you scale your business and become a massive entrepreneur and go get you some equity. All right, take care.